Husqvarna has a long history that is rich in tradition, starting with the very first Husqvarna factory, established in 1689. From homeowners to full-time professionals, our chainsaws are ideal for anyone who requires first-class quality, durability, and ergonomics. Take a minute to familiarize yourself with the basic components of the Husqvarna chainsaw. They are the cylinder cover, the starter handle, the air purge, the stop switch, also known as the ignition or on-off switch, the rear handle, the choke control or start throttle lock, the fuel tank, the chain oil tank, the throttle lockout, the decompression valve, the front handguard, the bar and chain, the bumper spike, the chain tensioning screw, the chain catcher, the oil pump adjustment screw, the clutch cover, the throttle control, the combination spanner, the bar guard, the information and warning decal, and the product and serial number plate. Starting and stopping your Husqvarna chainsaw is a simple process. Follow these steps and you'll ensure safe usage and longer life for the product. The chain brake should be activated while starting the chainsaw. Activate the chain brake by pushing the front handguard forward. When starting with a cold engine, set the choke control in the choke position by pulling the choke control outwards. This automatically sets the stop switch to the start position. Press the air purge 5 or 6 times until fuel begins to fill the bulb. The bulb does not need to be completely filled. Press the decompression valve, which reduces the pressure in the cylinder and makes starting easier. You should always press the decompression valve before starting the machine. Once the machine has started, the valve will automatically close. Pull the starter handle with your right hand and pull out the starter cord slowly until you feel a resistance. Then, firmly pull the starter handle. Try not to pull the starter cord beyond 12 to 14 inches. Pull rapidly until the engine fires or tries to start. Listen for a noise that sounds like the engine partially started or fired for a few revolutions. This will usually happen in 2 to 3 pulls. Then, push in the choke control and also push in the decompression valve once more. Repeat pulling the starter handle until the engine starts. As the chain brake is still engaged, the speed of the engine must be set to idling as soon as possible. This is achieved by depressing the throttle lock and quickly increasing the engine RPMs with the throttle trigger, then releasing immediately. This prevents unnecessary wear to the clutch drum, and brake band. Do not further rev the engine until the chain brake is disengaged. Never start a chainsaw unless the bar, chain, and all covers are fitting correctly. Without a bar and chain attached to the chainsaw, the clutch can come loose and cause serious injury. If the engine is warm or previously run, the correct choke setting is obtained by pulling the choke control out and then pushing it back in again. This will set the fast idle control. Press the air purge repeatedly, at least 6 times, until fuel begins to fill the bulb. The bulb does not need to be completely filled. Press the decompression valve to reduce the pressure in the cylinder and make starting easier. You should always use the decompression valve when starting the machine. Once the machine has started, the valve will automatically close, so it needs to be pressed in before each start. Pull the starter handle with your right hand and pull out the starter cord slowly until you feel resistance. Then pull firmly and rapidly until the engine starts. As the chain brake is still engaged, the speed of the engine must be set to idling as soon as possible. This is achieved by depressing the throttle lock, quickly increasing the throttle trigger and releasing it immediately. This prevents unnecessary wear to the clutch drum, and brake band. Remember to disengage chain brake before accelerating the engine. Stop the engine by switching off the ignition. If your Husqvarna product is equipped with a two-stroke engine, it must always be run using a mixture of gasoline and two-stroke oil. When mixing fuel, even small inaccuracies can drastically affect the ratio of the mixture. Never refuel the machine while the engine is running or is hot from recent use, and always make sure your fueling area has plenty of ventilation. After refueling, move the machine at least 10 feet from the refueling point before starting it. Never start the machine if you have spilled fuel on the machine. Wipe off spillage and allow remaining fuel to evaporate before use. Never start the machine if you have spilled fuel on yourself or your clothes. Because all engines equipped with catalytic converters must be run on unleaded fuel mixtures, it's important that you choose good quality unleaded gasoline. Leaded gasoline will destroy your product's catalytic converter, causing it to no longer function properly. While the manual says you can use 87 octane, you should use at least 89 octane in order to prevent knocking, a condition caused by high engine temperature and increased bearing load, sometimes resulting in serious engine damage. For best results, use Husqvarna brand two-stroke engine oil that is FD certified. This oil is specially formulated for our air-cooled two-stroke engines. All Husqvarna products use a 50-to-1 mix, which means 2.6 ounces of oil are used to 1 gallon of gas. Husqvarna two-stroke oil comes in convenient bottles that are easily added to 1 gallon of gas with no measuring required. Never use two-stroke oil intended for water-cooled engines, such as TCW3, sometimes referred to as outboard oil. When mixing, never attempt to mix the oil with the fuel in the gas tank on the unit. Always mix gasoline and oil in a clean container intended for fuel. Start by filling half the amount of the gasoline to be used. Then add the entire amount of two-stroke oil. Shake the fuel mixture for at least 10 to 15 seconds. Add the remaining amount of gasoline and reshake for 10 to 15 additional seconds. Next, untwist and remove the fuel cap. Pour the fuel into the tank to 80% of capacity. When finished, fasten the fuel cap securely and wipe up any fuel spillage around the unit. Do not mix more than 1 month's supply of fuel at a time. If the machine is going to be stored for an extended length of time, the fuel tank should be emptied and cleaned. Proper lubrication not only extends the life of your Husqvarna product, but it also helps prevent the chain from breaking, which could lead to serious or fatal injuries. Start by checking your chain oil. Chain oil must demonstrate good adhesion to the chain and also maintain its flow characteristics regardless of whether it is warm summer or cold winter weather. As a chainsaw manufacturer, we have developed optimal chain oil. Use this oil in order to maximize chain life and also minimize environmental damage. If our own chain oil is not available, make sure you use an oil specifically designed for bar and chains. Never use waste oil, which can be dangerous to you, damage the oil pump in the machine, and also harm the environment. All of our chainsaws have an automatic chain lubrication system. On some models, the oil flow is also adjustable. The saw chain oil tank and the fuel tank are designed so that the fuel runs out before the chain oil. However, this safety feature requires that you use the correct oil. If the oil is too thin, it will run out before the fuel. Always wear safety glasses and a glove on the hand that is holding the bar and chain. Before beginning, It is imperative that the chain brake is in the disengaged position by moving the front handguard towards the front handle. Only a dealer can replace the cover if you remove it while the chain brake is engaged. Remove the bar nuts and the clutch cover. Remove the transportation rings or spacers and discard. Fit the bar over the bar bolts and place the bar in its rearmost position. Place the chain over the drive sprocket. Notice the orientation of the chain with the cutter teeth facing forward on the top edge of the bar for it to be installed correctly. Locate the drive links in the groove on the bar. Begin on the top edge of the bar and check that the drive links of the chain fit correctly over the drive sprocket and that the chain is correctly located in the groove in the bar. Place the chain adjuster pin in the clutch cover into the hole in the bar, then fit the clutch cover on the unit. Tighten the bar nuts finger tight. Tension the chain by turning the chain tensioning screw clockwise, using the combination spanner while holding up the bar tip. The chain is correctly tensioned when the bottom of the drive link can't be visibly lifted above bar, but the chain can still be turned easily by the hand. Tighten the bar nuts with the combination spanner. Do not over-tighten. When using a saw with toolless tensioning, turn the handle 1/2 turn counterclockwise and then use the thumb wheel to tighten the chain. After fitting a new chain, the chain tension has to be checked frequently until the chain is run in. A correctly tensioned chain ensures good cutting performance and long life. Never adjust the chain while it is hot. The position of the chain tensioning screw on our chainsaws varies from model to model. Refer to your manual for actual location of the tensioning screw. The air filter must be regularly cleaned to remove dust and dirt in order to avoid carburetor malfunctions, starting problems, loss of engine power, unnecessary wear to engine parts, and excessive fuel consumption. After taking off the air filter cover, remove the air filter. Clean the filter by brushing or shaking it. Do not use compressed air or you will damage the filter. The filter can be cleaned more thoroughly by washing it in water and detergent. When refitting, make sure that the air filter seals tightly against the air filter holder. Let it dry before using. An air filter that has been in use for a long time cannot be cleaned completely and should be replaced. A Husqvarna chainsaw can be equipped with different types of air filters according to working conditions, weather, season, etc. Contact your local Husqvarna dealer if you need further assistance. Also, refer to the manual for further maintenance and storage information. When operating your chainsaw, avoid all situations which you consider to be beyond your capability. If you still feel uncertain about operating procedures after watching these videos, please consult an expert before continuing. Also consider taking a chainsaw course through your local dealer or forestry school. And of course, read the owner's manual. Before you begin, make sure you are using the latest in chainsaw safety equipment. This includes a protective helmet with hearing protection or earplugs, protective goggles or a visor, gloves with saw protection, trousers with saw protection, boots with saw protection, steel toe cap, and non-slip soles. Always have a first aid kit, fire extinguisher, and shovel nearby. Every Husqvarna chainsaw is equipped with a chain brake that is designed to stop the chain should you encounter any kickback. The chain brake reduces the risk of accidents, but only you can prevent them. Take care when using your saw and make sure the kickback zone of the bar never touches any object. The chain brake can either be activated manually with your left hand or automatically by the inertia release mechanism. Kickback can be very sudden and violent. Most kickbacks are minor and may not always activate the chain brake. If this happens, you should hold the chainsaw firmly and not let go. Use the chain brake as a parking brake when moving over short distances in order to reduce the risk of a moving chain accidentally hitting your leg or anyone else's leg. The way the chain brake is activated depends on the force of the kickback and the position of the chainsaw in relation to the object that the kickback zone strikes. If you get a violent kickback while the kickback zone of the bar is farthest away from you, the brake is designed to be activated by the inertia in the kickback direction. If the kickback is less violent or the kickback zone of the bar is closer to you, the chain brake is designed to be activated manually by the movement of your left hand. Never refuel the machine while the engine is running or is hot from recent use, and always make sure your fueling area has plenty of ventilation. After fueling, move the machine at least 10 feet from the refueling point before starting it. Never start the machine if you have spilled fuel or chain oil on the machine. Wipe off spillage and allow remaining fuel to evaporate. Never start the machine if you have spilled fuel on yourself or your clothes.